Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, as many of us God of War fans out there were probably initially cautiously optimistic when we'd heard about Amazon Studios announcing that it was going to be a series out there. But considering the fact that we've seen what Amazon has produced, whether it be Wheel of Time or Rings of Power, well, I think a lot of fans out there were, well, absolutely terrified of the fact that they were going to try to make a live-action adaptation of such an incredible franchise that so many of us have loved literally from the beginning. I played the first 3 games out there, thought they were an absolute blast. I loved them and just could not wait to play the next one. It was a lot of good times out there. I did not play Ragnarok because I heard about the Sweet Baby Ink stuff that was involved in it, and guess what? Yeah, I'd have no desire to do that in any way, shape, or form. But nonetheless, for all of the God of War fans out there, we have some very interesting updates when it comes to the series out there coming from Amazon Studios out there, because everyone involved in the writing of this series has been completely and totally fired. Ladies and gentlemen, they have removed everybody from it and they are starting fresh, and that is absolutely wild and absolutely insane. And of course, the real question is why. The speculation about all of this could be very interesting to go over, because we've got some background on the guys over here. We pulled up their IMDb's of each one of the people that have been fired out there, and it kind of shows that they've been a consistent crew working on things together for a while, and potentially as to whether or not why their scripts were rejected by Amazon, and considering the fact that we know what Jennifer Sulky and all of those people over there at MGM Studios have been trying to push, the fact that they are completely and totally possessed by the spirit of the age. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd imagine this will probably only get worse. I do not think this is probably a good sign, but we'll find out eventually when all of this comes out to fruition, because who knows, maybe somebody over there at Amazon actually got smart, saw the writing on the wall, and decides that if you go completely and totally against what the fans want and what the lore states and all of that kind of stuff, it actually ends up blowing up in your faces, like what we've seen with Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. But who knows? We will find out eventually. So we're going to check this article from Deadline.com, but shout out to IGN, who were the first ones that I saw on social media out there reporting on it, because we like to go back to our original sources. And then, of course, like I said, also we've got some IMDb stuff to check what these guys' backgrounds have been as to whether or not maybe this will lead some kind of credence one way or the other as to why they got fired and what the future of the God of War franchise over there at Amazon will actually end up being. So we're going to check out the stuff, getting all the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let us know what you think about all of this. Do you think this is a good sign? Do you think this is a bad sign? Or do you have absolutely no idea whatsoever? And either way, we'll have to see what happens. So, from Deadline.com, God of War, Sony, and Amazon starting over on series after departure of EPs Rafe Judkins, Hawk Ostaby, and Mark Fergus. So yes, the executive producers and part of the writing team are all now fired. At least that's the way we're going to look at it anyway, boys and girls, because we know how Hollywood does. They will never actually say fired in the most part for a lot of people out there, because, you know, everybody's got to be friends. We all go to the same cocktail parties. So exclusive from Deadline, Sony Pictures and TV and Amazon MGM Studios are staging a do-over on God of War. That's a nice way of saying you completely and totally restarted, fired everybody involved, and are starting fresh. The series for Prime Video that's based on PlayStation's hugely popular ancient mythology-themed video game. Deadline has learned the showrunner, executive producer, Rafe Judkins, along with EPs Hawk Ostaby and Mark Fergus, have left the project after completing multiple scripts for the first season. The studios are apparently looking to move in a different creative direction. Now what could that mean? Ladies and gentlemen, that's the real question. A different creative direction. Well, in order to understand what different creative direction they're wanting to go in now, we have to understand the potential creative direction that these people involved were going over on here. So let's check this out. Rafe Judkins, right? Executive producer is what he was supposed to be. So what has he been known for? The Wheel of Time. He was the producer and showrunner over there at Wheel of Time. Not such a good sign over there whatsoever. Probably not such a bad thing that he's gone, considering the fact that Wheel of Time has been an absolute abomination. Uncharted, which did not land very well with a lot of the fans out there. Hemlock Grove, which I absolutely really enjoyed, but he was just a producer on that one as well. Same thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., also just a producer. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is another series I absolutely really loved as well for the most part. So 2 things that he was actually either a writer or the actual showrunner and producer on for out there. Wheel of Time. Needless to say, this might be a good sign, because it's not like Uncharted or Wheel of Time exactly stuck to their source material out there, boys and girls. So now on to our next one, Hawk Ostaby, right? Hawk Ostaby right here. So Hawk is a writer. He's a writer out here. He's well known for Children of Men, Iron Man, The Expanse. He was a writer / creator on that one, which The Expanse was great for the first few seasons and then went completely and totally off the rails. Cowboy and Aliens, never saw it, but it's got a 6.0 rating over there on IMDb. So it sounds like Iron Man, that's a good sign. Heard good things about Children of Men, so it's one of them. And like I said, I like the first few seasons of The Expanse, so he's probably a good writer. But considering the fact that the guy that he was writing for was the showrunner on Wheel of Time, that might tell you exactly what you need to know about this over here. So we've got one more. Mark Fergus. Mark Fergus. Now, what has Mark Fergus worked on right here as well? Well, it looks like Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostaby might be a little bit of a writing team duo out there, because as you can see right here, Children of Men, Iron Man, Cowboys and Aliens, and The Expanse once again. The Expanse, which was another Amazon series out there, or the majority of the fans really enjoyed, at least from there in the beginning out there. So this is the team that we have. This is the direction they were going in right now. It was a Wheel of Time showrunner that they have now fired and removed and are completely and totally starting over. And these guys had already wrote scripts out there. So it's one of them situations where maybe, since they're getting rid of the guy that was in charge of the disastrous dumpster fire that was Wheel of Time, you maybe might get something good. But at the end of the day, remember, Jennifer Sulky is still the one over there in charge, and she is completely and totally as woke gets, boys and girls. She is completely and totally possessed by the spirit of the age, and she is the one running the show. Now, as whether or not somebody has gone out there and decided to go over her head and actually get something done properly that'll actually make the fans happy, I don't know. We haven't heard any rumors about that. We haven't heard any of that kind of stuff coming out of Amazon, unlike what we've heard out of Disney Marvel and stuff like that. So I don't know whether or not this is necessarily going to be a good thing or not, but it does seem like it might potentially be moving in the right direction. But like I said, I don't trust Amazon, boys and girls. I don't trust Amazon. So the one source did tell Deadline that the trio scripts were praised by both Sony and Prime. Well, I wonder if they were all a bunch of DEI agenda-driven nonsense, and that's why Sony, who is also totally down for the cult, and Prime absolutely praised the initial scripts. It sounds like somebody who's actually in charge, maybe somebody who's in charge of the money, or somebody who is above Jennifer Sulky's head, took one look at those scripts and went, oh, hell no. We've seen what you did with Wheel of Time. We've seen what you did with Rings of Power. We know what those numbers are, and we ain't about to have this happen again. Is that true? I have no idea. That's just based on my speculation for the evidence we currently have at the time. Sony and Amazon's plan to hire a whole new writer's room for the series that remains an important asset for Prime. Judkins is a major player for the streamer too. He's the showrunner on Wheel of Time. Judkins is also under an overall deal with Sony, where he will continue to focus on development. So it sounds like Judkins ain't going anywhere as far as Amazon or Sony, but well, he's under an overall deal with Sony. So it sounds like Prime, somebody inside of Amazon went, oh, hell no. Pack your bags, get out of here. We ain't doing this again. We ain't doing another Wheel of Time situation again. And we don't know how much longer Wheel of Time's going to go on, but obviously he's the showrunner. He's still under contract, so he's going to run that one all the way into the ground that he already has, just like he already has, and piss off even more of the fans if there's any of them left or anybody's actually left watching the series, much like Rings of Power out there. So maybe, just maybe, this is a good sign. When first announced in December of 2022, God of War was billed as following Kratos, aka the God of War, the Norse. Oh, yeah, there we go. They wanted to go with the Norse version. They wanted to go with the newer version out there, which a lot of people, I got mixed reviews on. Some fans said it was good. Some fans said it was a little woke. Some fans said it was a lot of woke. I didn't end up playing the game, so I don't really know. So they're co-produced by Sony Pictures TV and MGM Amazon Studios and associated with PlayStation, yada, yada, yada. Santa Monica's Studios' Corey Balrog and Yumi remain EPs on God of War. So at least you've got those guys left. So like I said, I don't know. Just based on my own pure speculation and concerning the fact that the guy that has been the showrunner for Wheel of Time and has driven that series completely into the ground has now been fired from the God of War project out there and will no longer be working on it. Who knows? Boys and girls, there may be a change in the wind. 2024 has been said to be the year that woke goes to die. As to whether or not that's actually going to end up being the case over there at Amazon, I have no idea. As a fan of the God of War franchise, as a guy who loves fans, I'm a fan of fans. Okay, I want to see all of us happy. I want to see a good representation, an accurate representation that is true to the lore, that represents the characters and the way that they are supposed to be represented in the source material that we have all known and loved them for decades. If they do that, it will be very, very well done, and it'll be very well received. If they end up going the path of Wheel of Time or Rings of Power, well, we've seen what's happened. They will get exactly what they deserve with their audiences literally going away. And at this point, considering how many times the fandoms have been burned by Amazon already, everyone is going to be extremely cautious about even giving this series a chance. And if you do not nail it, if you do not absolutely nail it, you will immediately see the exact same kind of numbers that you did with Rings of Power, because the fans will check out, they will go away, and they will have no desire whatsoever to promote or talk about or be involved with your series in any way, shape, or form. And then you will end up having another hundreds of millions of dollars disastrous dumpster fire on your hands. Amazon, tell me, Jeff Bezos, is that really what you want to do? Did you make the smart move here and fire all of the people that had turned nothing more into disastrous dumpster fires over at Wheel of Time? And are you going to go out there and try to actually hire people that actually stick to the source material, understand it, and actually make the fans happy? I have no earthly idea. I don't have inside sources, but looking at it from a 40,000 foot view, at least it looks like this might be a step in the right direction. But at the end of the day, Amazon, everybody involved with God of War, and everybody over there at MGM Studios, make the fans happy, will make you rich. Piss us off, well, you've seen what happened with Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. You will get exactly what you deserve.